Hi, and welcome to Filmmakers Compass Podcast, a show where we talk about movies and more movies. I'm D-Man, joined by CP. CP, how you doing today?
Dude, I'm very good. How are you? I'm super excited. I saw an awesome movie over the weekend.
Yeah, I actually saw the same movie, and we didn't just watch it at home. The point is, we got to go see an old classic on the big screen. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about the box office and some theater stuff throughout. So this episode's actually going to get pretty interesting, CP. And I'm excited to see what the box office is this week, as well as, the future of the theater experience. So pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah. And then also football's coming back. So that's pretty exciting. Dub Bears. Actually, sorry, you're drinking out of a Colts coffee mug right now. So I hope you have already purchased your Daniel Jones jersey.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I'm thinking it's going to be another one and done contract there.
Well, welcome to a podcast where we talk movies and more movies and sports.
Armchair quarterbacking here.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump into the episode this week. First up, we have shout outs as always. And our first shout out goes out to Kaylee, who said, I saw this pick happen, referring to CP at the movies. So what was your experience at this movie theater?
Oh, it was awesome.
Freakier Friday?
I don't know if you know this, but there was a 35th movie anniversary this past weekend. Very specific Fathom event for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990, which none of us saw because I wasn't even alive when that movie came out the first time.
Okay.
And I know you went and saw it.
Yeah.
I know you went and saw it, and dude, it was so much fun. I know we're going to talk about it later. I went with a bunch of my college friends because when everybody found out that TMNT was in the theater, they're like, we got to go.
I know a lot of people who went. It's actually really exciting. Shout out to Mikey. Mikey went. Steph, my wife, said that her old college roommate and our good friend Lori is going to see it in the theaters.
No way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, this is really cool.
Everybody's going, dude.
You know what made me sad though? And this happened when I was at a barbecue pool party the other day, was that one of my friends, shout out Chubbs, actually said, he was like, does TMNT really warrant like an anniversary release? He was like, I didn't know it was that big of a movie. And I was like, dude, I think you're forgetting about Turtle Mania in the 80s and 90s. It was through the roof. But again, we're going to talk about it.
Well, Chubbs, I'm sorry, man. I respectfully, you are completely and utterly wrong.
Well, the point is, I was like, yes, I think it does warrant an anniversary release. But also bonus, I was like, most of the people who love that movie probably never saw it on the big screen. So not only is the anniversary itself, it's not like they do this for the 30th, the 25th, and we've seen it, every 5 years. I'm like, no, I think most people, that grew up in that era of Turtle Mania probably never saw this movie on the big screen. So pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Here's a shout out to Darren, and I kind of hate this shout out, but referring to CP's review of Fantastic Four, he said, I agree with all of this with 3 exclamation points.
Well, Darren, obviously you are a very wise and learned man, so thank you.
I don't like when our listeners agree with CP, so
I love it.
Thank you, Darren, for nothing. No, thank you. We always love all the comments, so appreciate it. Next up in our shout outs goes out to Mikey. He said, review for Weapons, which I was waiting for this review.
Bought my ticket. I'm going tonight. I'm very excited. I
haven't seen it, but I've heard good things, and it's crushing the box office. We're going to get to that too. But he said, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It definitely seemed like the writer-director just wanted to make a quality, scary thriller. It's a bunch of familiar, scary movie overtones, just really well executed. The storytelling of each character is well done and builds to a dramatic climax. Think Crash meets The Conjuring with a sprinkle of Apocalypse Now. And I was like, dude, that is an elevator pitch right
there. Is, yeah, now I really want to see it.
Think Crash meets Conjuring with a sprinkle of Apocalypse Now. I'm like, what? If you elevator pitched me that, I'd be like, I want to hear more. So, Mikey, that was incredible. I don't know if you ever taken a class or even like a master class online of how to do an elevator pitch, but that was spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed that. And then he said acting was also very good, although I would say it's hard for me to watch the lead female actress and not see her Ozark character. Really good movie. So, CP, good luck to you in the theater tonight. I hope you enjoy the movie. And Mikey, thank you for your review.
Yeah, dope. Very
Uh,
cool.
and then our last shout out actually goes to Drucker, who said, finally saw Superman. I really wanted to like it, but just didn't land so well for me. James Gunn makes kind of weird movies. I did really like the Superman they cast, and I'm curious to see what happens next, but I'd probably give it a 6. So respectable Drucker. I
Okay,
think
so Drucker was most likely agreeing with me. That's what it sounds like. He did not like the new Superman, and he thinks James Gunn sucks. Awesome, thank you, Drucker. You're right on the money, brother.
everybody's just agreeing with CP here. I don't like this at all.
This is turning
Drucker,
out to be a great episode. I already love this one.
I don't even feel like reading the rest of his review because I know it just agrees with you. That rhymed.
I
And it's upsetting me now. But he okay, Drucker, I'll finish your comment. Thank you. He did say I did enjoy the throwbacks to the original one though. Miss Tess Maxer with how Lex was just trying to develop his land as an end goal. I'm sure there was more I'm missing, but those two really stood out to me. So, in
Solid.
essence, he didn't say it explicitly, but he did say, I agree with CP.
It's very, 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 inferable based on the content. So context matters, D-man.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody agreeing with you. That upsets me. But this show is up for debate. And of course, we will continue on. I'll try to make better points. But Drucker, if you're not on my side, then good luck to you out there in Colorado.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
All right. And then finally, just a couple of birthday shout outs. Want to give a shout out to Tom Bryant and Michael Tacone. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hope you guys had great birthdays. So CP, that does it for shout outs this week. And you know what time it is. It is now time for box office breakdown.
All right. Box office breakdown. Let's take a look at this past weekend in the box office. Number 5 was previous number 4.
Okay.
A little animated movie called The Bad Guys 2.
Doing well. Doing really well in theaters.
It's made $120 million total with a $60 million gross and just over $60 million worldwide. So not bad considering that I'm guessing it was probably made for about $80 million. I mean,
Yeah, they
it's
still
like
got a
the
little
second
ways to
week.
go.
It's going to get up traction. There's not a lot of other kids movies out at this point in time. So I think it will still make some more.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's doing okay. I thought it was doing a little bit better. No, it's pretty good. I think 120. Obviously, they're approaching probably making their actual budget plus marketing back. Will it get into the black? That's what we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that'd be cool if it does. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see a ton of advertisements for it, so maybe they kept advertising on the light side and just bet that as a sequel, it's gonna do well.
Yeah.
So,
Number 4, previously number 3, Bam's new favorite movie, The
oh,
Fantastic Four: First Steps.
there we go. Uh, I mean, it's still in the top 5, but I mean, the drop off on Fantastic Four for a Marvel film is pretty hard.
It's about
Uh,
$470 million worldwide. So this is not going to reach the $1 billion benchmark that we know Marvel was expecting to get off this.
I don't know what the actual budget for this film was, but I'm guessing it's in the $200 million ballpark. I mean, that's what Marvel spends usually on like their franchise films. And I know this was supposed to be a big one. So you can safely assume that the marketing budget was probably close to another 200 million. They've crossed probably into profitability, but I mean, is this a total win for Marvel? I don't know.
No.
I think it set out to accomplish what it wanted to, but when you really think about it, it was not a smash, a box office smash. And also, it did come in second place behind Superman in terms of the comic book movies. So you're kind of like,
True.
plus, I think Captain America Brave New World might have even made more than that if you go backwards.
If we go all the way back. Well,
Yeah.
and comparing it to Superman, Superman's up around $600 million. So both of these, I think, have underperformed based off of the expectations going into the summer. I assume Warner Brothers and Disney were both expecting that these were going to be smash hits. Now, I do think that both of them did deliver for the studios in the sense that
People
DC
are
put out
excited.
a superhero movie that wasn't a complete failure and people got pumped about Superman. And the Fantastic Four, while it may not have delivered in the box office, I feel like this was kind of a Marvel message to the fans saying, "Hey, we hear you. We know what you want. We're giving you something that
Yeah, we're
that
we're
you
building
will
back up.
appreciate." Right?
Yeah,
That's leading to connecting the MCU. We're giving you some actually worthwhile teasers for the future, and
yeah.
they accomplish that stuff.
Well done. Well, even if the box office doesn't reflect it, I mean, it's future box office now that
Yeah,
hopefully will reflect
yeah.
it. If
They
everybody's excited and they keep producing more movies, hopefully momentum gains, and then the comic book movie genre sort of returns to that level of like you can have billion-dollar unicorns that don't have Ryan Reynolds,
yeah.
uh, or the Avengers.
So number three is brand new this week, and this I have not seen it. I do not know that I will. I want to know your thoughts on it, and that is Nobody 2.
That's with Bob Odenkirk. I did see Nobody One, and it was good. There's a great scene on a bus, but am I literally lining up to go see number two? Probably not. It's definitely something I would watch on streaming, and because I have AMC A list, it's very possible that I might make it to the theaters to see this movie.
I thought the first one was kind of odd. If I
I
remember
liked it.
correctly, it's from the same team that brought us John Wick.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And it's obviously kind of a very similar vibe, especially just sort of we've seen a lot of these the beekeeper, the take-ins, the you know kind of unsuspecting dangerous person who is crossed the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
My problem with Nobody One was it felt like a very slow start when you compare it to some of the other movies that we've seen in this genre space.
It must have been a sleeper hit though. Ooh, Jack Reacher
Yep.
is
Yeah.
in that same genre. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just got
No, no,
excited. I was
no,
like,
no, right? Like we've seen them and they're really successful and they're usually, I mean, a lot of them have kind of shifted into what I would say more of the aging leading man, former action star. But the interesting thing about Bob Odenkirk is, first of all, he was never a massive box office draw,
right. He
right?
was
I
a
mean, we know him
TV
from
Breaking
Breaking
Bad,
Bad,
Better Call
Better Call
Saul.
Saul. Yep. But he's not like a massive big screen silver screen kind of guy. But the other thing is he has never in any way done anything in the action space, which probably the best comparison is Liam Neeson, right? Who,
Yeah.
when Taking came out, we're like, what? This is like not what we expected from the guy. And
So
it
awesome.
totally revived his career, and he's done 30 of those movies since. So,
I am going to guess, CP, that one of the reasons this movie got made is that whoever is the executive producer on these films knows how to do it on a budget. My guess is they know what the back end looks like after the first one came out. So, how well did it do on streaming? And where can they make up their money in distribution? And I bet they know how to keep a movie like this under budget and make sure that they're like, no, we could turn a profit, guaranteed.
well, and I think we've seen that specifically with Gerard Butler and Jason Statham. They've both kind of shifted their career into this lane where they're making these action movies, between 20 and 50 million dollars. They can come out every year. They turn a profit, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of like everybody gets paid. It's consistent. We deliver to the audience exactly what they're expecting,
Yep.
and everyone walks away happy. So I
So
think you're right.
I'm gonna guess that's where this movie's at, and that's maybe we'll even get a third one. I don't know how successful it actually
Right.
has to be at the box office in order to warrant its existence. So there you go.
So interesting story. Sorry, totally random. Now that we're going down the nobody rabbit hole, I actually heard a funny story. Apparently, if you remember the end of the first Nobody, when he locks the people in his basement
Yeah.
and then he like hunts them down. But the point is, apparently that was actually inspired by a real life incident with Bob Odenkirk, where
Oh, that's weird.
people broke into his house and he trapped them and he locked them in his basement until the cops came.
That's pretty dope. I would do that here if I could. It's not a basement, it's a garage.
I was gonna
totally.
say you don't have a basement, you have a garage, but yeah, go for it, right?
And we're in a heat wave over here in SoCal, so those people will suffer. So don't come at me.
Okay. Number two in the box office was also number two in the box office last weekend, and that is Freakier Friday, which I mean, I got a confession to say. I went and saw it a second time this week.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't go see Weapons or Naked Gun or any, you went and saw Freakier Friday twice.
for a second time. I know. What am I supposed to say?
Oh
Uh,
man, you are
in
a big Lindsay Lohan fan.
huge Lindsay Lohan fan, and it has
Yeah.
now made $90 million worldwide. So again, I don't know what the original budget on this was, but I cannot think it was more than $30 million. So sounds
Another
like a
movie that,
solid payday, you
right?
know?
I guarantee you, they're like, hey, listen, hype for this movie probably ballparks around here. It's going to do well on streaming. This is what we can expect from the box office. So budget accordingly. And as long as you have an executive producer who's like, you know what, we're sharp on this, we'll come in under. It's a win for the studio.
Well, and the reason why I went and saw it again is I actually watched Freaky Friday after seeing Freaky Friday because I haven't seen
Oh my
Freaky
god! So
Friday in
three
25
three
years.
watches now.
So the point was watching Freaky Friday and then Freakier Friday, it actually is constructed as a very good sequel. So if you
That's
love the first
fascinating to
one, they
me.
deliver the cameos from the right characters. It's the same scenario and story setup with a twist. I was
Hmm.
actually amazed at considering that we've seen so many of these films where they're like, hey, let's go revisit a franchise that's been dead or a
Yeah.
film that's been, nothing for 20 years and turn it into a
Right.
franchise.
Happy Gilmore 2, Beverly Hills Cop. Well, I mean, whatever. All these legacy sequels that have come out. It's
Yeah,
kind of
and I
crazy.
was like, this is actually a good example of how to do it right. Update it for the modern times, keep it in line with good respect for the original film. So if people saw it and loved it, they're gonna enjoy the second one, which is what I've heard from people who really liked Freakier Friday.
Yeah, and it's weird because when they don't go straight to streaming, I mean, box office can literally cover simply the budget. I mean, I know you have to promote it then a little bit differently than if it was on streaming, but realistically, you're like, you can make just from the box office, you could probably cover your budget and then send it to streaming. And then, however, it does through that distribution deal and whatever the back end is, you could probably make some good money.
Well, and I think it's interesting because someone at Disney was thinking the right way. You could have very easily seen, and I think if this was 2 years ago, Freakier Friday would have been direct to Disney Plus.
Right.
And everyone would have been like, yeah, I mean, it was fine, but I mean, look, it's made almost $100 million. Like,
I
put that in the
guarantee
box
you,
office,
other
right?
than like Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan's uh, you know, deals, it did not cost that much, $100 million. I'm
No,
guessing
no,
here.
absolutely, right? Like, so anyway, interesting decision from everyone. And number one in the box office, number one the previous week, and that is Weapons, which, as I said, I'm going to see it
Wow.
tonight. Cannot wait to check it out.
Jeez. Scary movies at number one. Are you ready for your pumpkin spice latte, CP? I
So,
mean, come on. The color
Weapons so
orange is
far,
going to be our I'm going to change my LED back here from blue to orange
you
for fall.
you actually should. That would be sick. I would appreciate that kind of dedication to the art design
Yeah. Okay.
of the
I might be able
show.
to do that. Yeah.
Uh, it's made $161 million worldwide. Heck of a payday.
Oh, guaranteed. All
Cannot have
these
been made
movies,
for more than 35 million. I've never
isn't it
seen it, but I'm like, you
isn't it
know,
kind of nuts when you think that like the two movies on this list that we talk about that probably made the most, Superman and Fantastic Four, are probably the movies that are struggling the most
yeah,
because they cost so much to market, they cost so much to make. So the upside is that, right, you could make $500 million if it actually crosses that $1 billion mark. But if it doesn't, it's considered struggling. Where a lot of these other movies, you're like, dude, these movies are doing great by most metrics. You know, Freakier Friday doesn't have to make $1 billion to be a win.
no,
Nobody two doesn't have to make maybe even $100 million
yeah,
to be
right.
a win. So that's kind of interesting, and I think we're going to talk about it a little bit today because, like we said, we're getting into some theater stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the box office. Now let's shift gears a little bit and take a look at the global box office. Now, the interesting thing is this that I wanted to point to. When we're going through the number one movies around the world in the different markets, um, Fantastic Four is still doing very well in most, especially in the European countries,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of the lead in most of Europe. Number one, Bad Guys 2 is doing very well in some
Wow.
of the
Yeah.
smaller regions, which is, as we said, there's definitely a market for that.
They're winning.
In some of places, we're seeing Weapons do really well. Now, what I'm noticing about the performance of Weapons, it seems to be in former British Commonwealth countries, the
Hmm.
UK, New Zealand, things like that is where
Okay.
Weapons is really doing well.
Gotcha.
And the other one that I found interesting is the number one movie in France currently is Karate Kid Legends, which
What?
dropped like 3 months ago. So I don't know what that's all about, but that was kind of shocking to me.
I mean, it could be a late release over there. I mean, I
Uh,
don't know
I'm
how long it's
assuming,
actually, yeah, I don't know what its distribution window looks like in these different countries, but it could be a late release or the French really love karate.
yeah. Well, I don't remember seeing it before, so I'm assuming it just came out, but it also seemed very delayed for considering that it was, premiered in May. Now, the other interesting thing is the number one movie in most regions, especially when we look at the Asian markets, Taiwan, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Japan, Demon Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
The
I
Demon
saw the
Slayer movie
poster
came
for that at
out, and
AMC. Yeah,
obviously, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are hyped for it, but yeah, totally destroyed in the Asian box office, which I think everyone expected. That's why they gave it a theatrical release, right?
makes sense. Even here, I know that the show itself does really well on Netflix. So there is a contingent of people, even stateside, that are probably excited for Demon Slayer. And that's one of the things that it's like, I guarantee you, they just run the numbers and they're like, yeah, I think there's enough uh, box office revenue out there that we could make this movie and it'll either break even or be profitable.
Yeah, totally,
So,
totally.
like back in the day, if you made a Pokemon movie, you're like, we're just going to print money.
Oh yeah, right.
Right. You're like, I mean, how much does it cost to make? You're like, and how much will it rake
Well,
in the box
and
office?
especially when you think about something like Pokemon, where you're like, okay, they're already making the show, right?
Yeah. They're
One
like, what's
movie is
another
three
2 hours?
episodes. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, just crank it out. Like we're already doing this. We have the workflow in place. We'll distribute it and just print money because every kid is gonna make their mom drag him to see Pokemon.
Exactly. I drug my mom. I went Pokemon the movie.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't see all the other ones though, but I did go to the first one. I do got to say, I was a big Pokemon Red and Blue guy back in the day, Game Boy. There,
Nice.
there was something so cool about just picking up your Game Boy, turning it on, Pokemon's the cartridge, and then you just get transported into this world wherever you are. Because I don't know
Yeah.
if Pokemon does as well as it did if it's not on a handheld, like mobile device.
Mm. Yeah.
Like if you had to play it on the console, great game. I'm sure it still would have done great, like fantastic. But the fact that it was like you could trade with people and just pull that out. I'm sorry, I'm tangenting here, but
Reliving
Pokemon
the
was
days
dope.
of Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon was dope.
Yep. Definitely.
So, all right, well, that does it for box office breakdown. But to continue this conversation, CP, you had forwarded me an article titled "AMC Theaters Box Office Surges in Latest Quarter." Now, that's the headline. The subheadline is overall revenues jumped 35% to $1.4 billion. And it looks like they are finally recovering from the pandemic. So
Yep.
well done,
Yeah.
AMC.
Yay. We're very happy.
Yes, it means theaters are not yet going away. Their 35% is not insignificant.
No. Well, and what's interesting is, in preparation for, looking at that article, there was an article from the previous quarter, and you and I probably and I remember us discussing this back in May, how the previous quarter the box office underperformed.
Well, okay. So are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Within the article, it actually says the company narrowed its net loss to $4.7 million. So they're not yet in the black, but they're on their way up because the previous year's loss was $32.8 or previous, maybe it was quarter.
Yeah.
But that's a massive, massive change.
Dude, that's insane. And I mean and what's when we talk, we're just talking box office numbers. There has not been a $1 billion movie that's making everyone rush out to the theaters. This isn't
Right.
2015.
Well, there were a couple that did really well. Films like a Minecraft movie, Lilo and Stitch,
Hmm.
and I forget there was one other one that came out that did really well. I think it was like How to Train Your Dragon
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
that did really well in terms of overall blockbusters. Still family friendly entertainment, but two other things of note were that AMC reported record high concession sales, which
Okay.
obviously you get gouged at the movies and they know this, but at the same time seems like people are freely willing to spend money on popcorn, soda, and whatever they're offering now, which they have a much bigger assortment of food and drink items than they used to.
Flatbread pizza, nachos, alcohol. Yeah.
Also, I don't know, there's nothing in here that says anything related to this, but I'd be curious what your thoughts are on the themed popcorn buckets and cups associated with the new releases for the movie. They sell out of them. So there's a little bit of FOMO associated with those, but they're very, very popular. And I
Yeah.
wonder, they get sold at the concessions, and I wonder
Yep.
if that's part of it.
I mean, I think that is. I think two other business decisions that AMC has rolled out over the past 5 months that I think were smart. The first one was they had the discounted movie Tuesdays, right? Where
Mhm.
Tuesday tickets were 50% off. They continued that into Wednesday, which obviously these are not high traffic movie days, but if that's
Concession sales.
yep, if that fills up the theater and sales at the concession. The other point was, if you've noticed, they recently made changes to A-list. They raised it a little bit, but now
You get a fourth movie.
fourth movie instead of just three, which again, I don't think many more people are really truly rushing out because seeing four movies in a week is a chore. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
go
it
all the
is.
time and I can't see, I can very rarely see four movies in a week, but
Yeah.
you're getting people there and they're buying stuff to eat
Well, so
and drink.
we're gonna talk about this in a minute, but one of the things I've noticed they're starting to do, and right now they're mostly holding legacy movies to anniversary years, but four movies a week at A-list, if they were to start putting out legacy movies that I just wanted to go see, like let's say they have open theaters, because I know they don't always have open theaters, right? Based on distribution deals for new movies that are coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if they were to open up a theater or something, just one of their, 16, mega movie theaters,
Yeah.
and they're going to go show some old movies. And I have four movies a week on A-list, and they're looking to make bank on concessions. I'm like, you know what? I might go see Beethoven on the big screen.
Yeah. Right.
Why not? Because I like that movie, which I actually watched it this year. It's still good.
That's dude. That's funny. I haven't seen that in forever, but okay.
I'm just saying, like, there's this sense that I'm like, maybe they're finally starting to recognize, like, hey, with A-list, we have empty theaters. What would increase traffic? Because a lot of the movies that I've seen this year are actually legacy movies. And there's a long list of movies this year that are coming out that have anniversary dates. Revenge of the Sith was what, 20th?
Yep.
Toy Story is 30th.
Yep.
TMNT is 35th.
Yep.
Back to the Future is 40th, and
Yep.
Jaws is 50th.
Yep.
So you're like, damn, all those movies on the big screen in the theaters, and I'm trying to hit them all if I can. I know last year, and we're going to talk about this later, I missed one that I really wanted to see. I think you saw it, but we'll get to that. But the other statistic of note from this article is that attendance increased by roughly 25% over, I believe, again, the previous quarter.
That is not nothing.
So that's a lot. And obviously, there is something to be said, CP. I'm assuming attendance generally increases in the summer.
I would think you're right.
So I don't know. We have to take that one with a slight grain of salt, where it's kind of like, all right, the summer blockbuster season always sees the most traffic of any time of the year, except maybe the holidays.
Yeah.
but that's like a tiny little burst. We're not talking like a 3 month or,
Yeah.
3 or 4 month window.
Yeah.
So there's a little caveat with that where it's like, yes, attendance increased. And if you're only comparing it to the previous quarter, again, I'm not sure if it doesn't say if that increase was comparing it to last summer for the same
Hmm.
time or if it was last quarter. And that would make a huge difference for this
True.
statistic, but still a big deal. People are going to the movies,
Yeah.
which is really exciting because I don't want the theater experience to go away. I love my AMC A-list pass, and I love having date night and just going with my friends to go catch the latest blockbuster or just something fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. For
Or
sure.
if my AC breaks, I don't want to end up in my garage like those criminals. I I'll go to the movie theater and enjoy the AC there.
Yeah, dude.
So it's pretty exciting. And that's something that I haven't said about the theater experience in a while. They're not doing a whole lot different except reorganizing how they're, kind of doing what they're currently doing, which is probably the most profitable way to do it, instead of being like, hey, we're going to upgrade every projector, or like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, how do we take what we do now, reorganize it so that we can get to a level of profitability? And it sounds like net loss of 4.7 million, they're close.
Well, and I've been reading stuff even too, how AMC's looking at, maybe we decrease the number of previews before a movie starts,
Yeah.
right? What are the little things we can do to make the experience better for the consumer? Which is not just, hey, pay more money and get a better quality seat and better quality projector and put on 3D glasses, right? Because we've tried that and it was kind of a net, I
Yeah.
think. I don't think it totally brought people into the theater as I think they were initially expecting it to, you know?
Exactly. Well, hey, congrats to AMC. I'm glad things are turning around. It's exciting for me because I love going to the theaters. But staying on topic for this conversation and going back to what you mentioned earlier, we both had the opportunity to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990 on the big screen. And what a blast it was. I had
Oh,
so much
dude,
fun.
it was a ton of fun. I loved it, man.
Yeah, I definitely think, it's a movie that, having never seen it on the big screen, it's on my list of ones that I always wanted to see. And my question to you, CP, is now that you've seen it on the big screen, do you think it was better or, just the same?
I think it was definitely better because for one, I mean, my whole life I've seen it on the VHS and the DVD, right?
Yeah.
I never saw it theatrically. So it was cool getting to see this as it was originally intended. To I think that the original Ninja Turtle movie, and I know we've talked about it on this podcast, so I don't want to retread new ground, but it's such an anomaly, right? This
Yeah.
was an independent film at the time that it was released, picked up by New Line for distribution. I don't think anyone was. I understand that Turtle Mania was a thing, but at the same time, everything you look at Ninja Turtles, there's no way it should be as successful and beloved and as fondly remembered as it is. So it was cool to get that because that energy was in the theater from my experience.
Yeah.
Everybody there loved the Turtles.
Well, here's the thing, too. When you like, we were talking about elevator pitches earlier, and you're like, if you were to pitch somebody, you're like, four guys in turtle suits fight crime in 90s New York City in the art of the ninja. You'd be like, no.
Yeah, right.
There's no way that will be good. And then when you really think about it, you're just looking at it out loud. You're like, it's like movie magic that this movie works on almost any level at all, because it should be ridiculous and silly to see people in actual turtle costumes. And yet somehow they make it believable.
Yeah,
And I
that's
don't
totally
know
true.
how. I don't know. I wish I did. If I did, then maybe I would be working in the movie industry, because it's so impressive to me. I've said this many times on the podcast. Like, one of the things that just blows my mind every time I see it is Empire Strikes Back and Yoda. He's a puppet and he became one of the most iconic characters, and we take him seriously.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
fucking puppet. And when you think about that, it's like, it's movie magic that it even works. And this is another example of that, where it's like, how in the world did you take this crazy cartoon idea, or really comic book idea about, turtles transforming into human teenage turtles once they get exposed to this, ooze,
Mm-hmm.
and translating that to live action? Because these, like, that's, we talked about, Disney live action remakes
Yeah.
where we're like, hey, maybe that's best as an animated movie.
Yeah.
Talking lions. I don't know if I need a live action version of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
feels like that here, where you're like, oh, maybe that's best for cartoons. Like, it works great in that medium. Maybe we don't need a live action version of that, because when you get it, you're kind of like, ooh, you know,
Well, and I think especially given the time, right? This movie came out in 1990, so it was being shot in the late 80s.
yeah,
This is pre-Jurassic Park, and I think that's important because Jurassic Park was the benchmark for how do we redefine
three
puppetry,
years later.
right? And my point is, given the similar attempts to make sci-fi comic book fantasy at the time, this should have looked terrible. And
Yeah,
granted, they look dated, and there are some scenes, like especially with the little baby turtles, where you're like, okay.
I like it. I
But
honestly think it works.
the turtle costumes themselves really work with the aesthetic, and I think part of it is that the movie has a slightly darker tone,
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
Not just in terms of the story, but in terms of the lighting, right? Everything's at night. It's grungy New York alleyways and sewer systems, which probably helps with when you're doing major puppetry. But
Yeah.
I was blown away, dude.
Oh, dude, I love when Splinter's like, and then one of them spoke, and he's like,
Pizza,
pizza, pizza.
pizza.
You're like, yes, oh my god. And
Oh,
then, dude, I love that theme song. Dun 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 dun
yeah.
dun 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 dun. Like, it's awesome.
And there's also stuff, I mean, again, and I know we've talked about this before, the character of the Shredder. I mean, this is dude with like can openers on his shoulders, and he could be a total joke. Like
Yeah,
if someone's like, "Hey, there's going to be this crime boss in modern day New York who walks around with a helmet and a bunch of razor blades on his shoulder," I'd be like, "Stupid." But they actually make the Shredder like this awesome, intimidating figure. When he walks into the room with the Foot Clan and all those kids, and like you see his
epic.
shadow, I'm like, dude, this
That
is like,
shot as an intro shot for a character is epic.
yeah, yeah,
That long shadow that slowly disappears as he makes his way up to the light source. And then he comes in and he has other people fix his cape for him.
yep,
Like, he's a
yep,
total badass. And then he speaks like a badass. He has that deep sort of growl, now I will finish what
yeah,
I started with
yeah,
your ear.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like incredible. And I also love for that character, when you really think about it, there's something that works on a street level for me of the idea that the Shredder would be collecting lost souls in 90s New York and saying, hey, I can provide you this really cool lifestyle. Because when they do that scene where the
Oh my
kids are like
gosh, it's
skateboarding and
so
playing video
cool.
games, hey, a couple of them are like smoking cigarettes and stuff. And I'm like, I don't smoke, but I'd love to have the option to. Like,
I love it. Like those
right?
kids are sitting there with cigars, shooting pool. I'm like, I want to go there so badly, playing
Yeah,
arcade games.
there's something about the cult like element of what he's doing here that I think kind of works versus like the traditional Shredder sort of brought his Japanese style and foot soldiers from Japan,
Yeah,
right? Or in the case of the cartoon, I think honestly they're robots. I don't
yeah,
know
and
if
they
you,
have the Technodrome and everything. Yeah,
yeah. So like in this case, it's kind of like, you look at the what was it, like the 2014 live action reboot by Michael Bay, and they make
yeah,
Shredder sort of just be like this big bad who just wants to take over.
yeah, yeah,
They don't really give him too much backstory or really too much character, although his character design is cool. He looks cool.
yeah,
Um, it's just one of those weird things where I'm like, I actually think like the movie starts off with April O'Neil reporting on like street level crime about these teenagers stealing TVs right off people's ledges and out of the backs of trucks, and I'm like, honestly, that's kind of how it would probably happen. like I don't think it's necessarily that these teenagers would just randomly be like, we're gonna go commit crimes. They're like, no, we just commit the crimes and then bring the merchandise back over here to this guy who provides a pretty dope life for us, and then he moves all the product on the back end.
I mean, when you put it that way, it does explain why it works, right? Because it is truly, I mean, yes, there is the one big ask from the audience, which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
If you've bought into the fact that there are,
but if you're at this movie, I think you
ninjutsu
have.
change turtles, then that works. And instead of having this, as the Turtles lore is, Dimension X, aliens from other dimensions, robot technology, a giant technodrome driving around underground beneath New York, like, this is much more believable and grounded, especially considering crime-ridden 1990s New York City.
Yeah, right. This is before Rudy. Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, no. So like, it makes sense, and it's kind of like I remember that scene in Home Alone 2 where like he gets lost in the park, and so in Home Alone 2, obviously New York is romanticized during Christmas time, but he goes to Central Park.
Ain't much better in here, kid.
Yeah, shady as hell. And I'm like, that reminds me of Ninja Turtles, like. And yes, the Ninja Turtles movie is grimier than Home Alone 2, but I think New York was sort of in that place. It's not Fear City of the late 70s, 80s, but they've never really recovered all the way. It's still a grimy, not nice place with, a lot of, triple X and adult stores and all this stuff before they sort of like Disneyfied it in the late 90s, early 2000s. And we're like, hey, this is a great place to come visit.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the Shredder in this movie that works. I thought he was intimidating when he fights. He's scary. He definitely seems, like a formidable foe for the Turtles. Again, fighting with just their weapons and, Japanese style from Hamato Yoshi and Splinter. So I don't know. Something about Shredder is excellent here. And then I love the theme of the movie. We've touched on this before in more depth, but I love the theme of the movie, which is really like family and sticking together. They want to save Splinter. And I don't know if like at the end you could have done maybe a more like, how they fight Shredder one-on-one and then like Splinter sort of just like throws him over the edge.
In case he just like compacts him in the trash truck.
Yeah. Like that to me seemed a little quick. Like when Splinter showed up, not that we need to see him fight, but I would have loved maybe a quick scene where they're all fighting together and maybe they actually overwhelm the Shredder so that he desperately rushes Splinter.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I think all of them coming together would have been awesome thematically because that's what the movie's about is Raph goes off on his own and he gets beat up and it's kind of like, hey, we need to stick together. And then they have that vision of Splinter over the fire. And he's like, you guys are family and all this stuff. Yeah. And even the way that, if you think about it thematically, Shredder pitches everybody as a family. Like that's the theme of the movie.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
I would have loved maybe a little bit more of them all coming together to fight and then Shredder desperately rushing Splinter, where it would make more sense that he would do this because it's what would hurt the Turtles the most, and then get flipped over. Because up to that point, honestly, in that final battle, he has the upper hand.
Yeah.
And it did feel a little odd that he would like rush the edge of a building to get thrown off. Because it's like, well, you're dominating everybody. And this rat is like old as hell.
Yeah.
So that one tweak, I mean, I probably would have loved to have seen, but other than that, I'm like, the movie just works for me. Like you said, I even like the miniatures. I like it all. Like Splinter is great.
Yeah.
It's how I think of him.
Yeah. No.
Then it is gone. I can get it back. I can get it back. It's funny, Raphael, speaking of the characters, you mentioned to me in our pre-production meeting that when you think of Raph, we generally think of him due to this movie as being like a moody teenage asshole.
Yeah, like emo Raphael.
But like if you watch other iterations, he's not always like that.
Especially in the 80s cartoon where he's just like kind of the sarcastic Brooklyn dude, right?
Yeah, like he's much more sarcastic, but lighthearted. He's not this guy who's like
brooding.
Yeah, here he's like brooding to the max. But what did you think of April O'Neil and Casey Jones?
The more and more, I think the older I get and the more I watch these movies, the more I love Casey Jones. Because as a kid, Casey Jones was, it was about the turtles, but now I'm like, dude, Casey Jones is awesome. Like he just,
Well, he
it,
provides a levity of comic relief because he's a surrogate for the audience where,
yeah,
these turtles are somewhat unbelievable, but he just buys into it. He's like, yeah, okay. Because like think about April, she actually wakes up and freaks out and then gets the whole backstory. But there's
yeah.
nothing shown, not to say that they wouldn't explain it to him, when they're hanging out on a farm, but there's nothing shown explicitly where like Casey Jones is like, you know, oh, okay, that's why you are the way you are. He's kind of like, okay,
Literally his
it's New
instinct
York
is
in the
I
90s.
I meet
This,
a I meet a giant life-size turtle, I have to fight it.
yeah, like I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not off brand for New York at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I loved, I mean, I thought he was good comic relief. I liked April O'Neil in this movie. She's very feisty. Um, you
Yeah.
know, one of my favorite lines of hers is when she's like, "Oh, that must be Splinter's favorite," and all the turtles are like, "What?" And she's like, "I'm kidding." You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you dirty rat, you dirty rat. Mm. And that's another thing about this movie is like it's so quotable. It
It
has
actually is. Yeah.
great music. It is memorable in so many different ways. It's like no wonder it's getting an anniversary release. I don't know. I love it. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, what was your theater like for the experience? Sounds like you went with friends. I went with friends, and we had a great time. We cheered, clapped. Nobody was quoting the movie like when we were at Star Wars, but it was fun. Actually,
Um,
one person was quoting the movie, and that was my wife, Steph. She was quoting it the whole time, and I'd tell her like 5 times, I'm like, hey, she was like getting all excited. She's like, yes. And I'm like, babe, there's people behind you. Like, I'm like, quote the movie to me. I'm not saying don't quote it. I'm like, just keep your energy right here. I'm like, there's other people here.
when we went, our theater was, and I mean, obviously this was for the fans, and they knew this at the event, right? The previews before had nothing to do with anything other than promoting the Teenage
Yeah,
Mutant Ninja Turtles
which was
board
fun.
games. I mean that 4 hour Turtles documentary making of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie seems amazing, and I cannot wait to buy it and watch it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just felt like there is that whole energy in there. The group of friends I went with, two of them are older, and they actually saw it originally when they
Wow. Okay.
were teenagers, and it came out the first time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember going to see it in the theaters," and like I'm seeing it again. So there was definitely a vibe like that, which I thought was really cool. Everybody loved the turtles. Everybody wore turtle shirts and
We
hats,
wore
and
turtle shirts. I don't know why I'm not wearing my turtle shirt right now. I
I know
suck, dude. I suck. I need to get on theme.
you have to
I
wear
mean,
it for.
let's see here. I think I got it right here. Look at this shirt for the movie. I bought it just to go to the movie. Look at
Oh
this
my
thing.
gosh, that's epic. Oh, that's
That,
all. That's all movie stuff, huh? That's like the movie poster.
yes, right? It's not just the 80s. I'm like, dude, this is the 1990s. Like, this shirt is awesome.
That's dope. I love it.
And look at
I
the
want
shredder.
that.
He's so dope.
I want that shirt.
But anyway, I should have it on right now. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm an
You
idiot.
you should. It's okay.
I'll just take my shirt off right now on air and put it
Do
on.
it.
Hang on.
Do
Let's
it.
do it.
All right, I'll do the same.
Yeah, we're doing it. All right. I'm rocking the shirt. Check it out, dude. That's
I
awesome.
love that. That is a great photo.
Should have had it on the whole time.
You
But
should have. That's a nice shirt. I like that color green too.
I know I got it green specifically. But it's like, dude, all of us rocked out in Turtles gear. It was so much fun. Shout out to Manina and Tyler. But before we move on, CP, I did want to throw it over to you. Do you think this movie is better because of nostalgia, or do you think that it would do well if it released today? Because
Um,
obviously, I think a lot of the people, everybody we went with, grew up with it and they were already fans of it. But what do you think?
I don't. It's kind of hard. I mean, for one, you if they made it today, they'd have it with the CG turtles like in the 2014 ones. And I mean, we saw how those movies performed the first time around, and they made money, right? They made two of them, but they were not in any way beloved. And I don't think the fans are like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's a disadvantage. I think the other thing is, it really isn't on. It's a very different genre piece than the current style of superhero movies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, tonally, thematically, structurally, it does not work with what audiences are accustomed to now. And so I actually think if it came out now, same movie, I don't think people would jump on it. They'd be like, it's kind of like weird and quirky, and even if there was a comic book following, I just don't know that fans would love it in the same way that because it's a time capsule, right?
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons. So one, obviously, I don't think this movie would be made this way today. Obviously, it's an IP owned by a big corporate conglomerate now, and they're going to put money behind it, probably
Hmm.
CGI. So it just wouldn't be an independent film, and it wouldn't be made this way. Like you mentioned, it's a time capsule. It takes place in the 90s. The music is the 90s. New York is the 90s. I think it works better being released in its time than it would be trying to adapt it to today's New York. Even though I love that the animated one that came out like a year ago, fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if the movie does as well if it's not right in that moment of Turtle Mania. I
Yeah.
think because the Turtles were so hot, both from the comics in the 80s, cartoon in 87 on, as well as the toy line. I mean, I think people just loved the Ninja Turtles.
I
And
mean, when you
so,
think about both those films were cranked out back to back.
yeah, within a year of each other, I think.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think would it do as well today? I don't think so, but not because of the movie itself, but more because of just the time it was in. The timing is what I
So,
think.
speaking of that, now I heard this, as we were hanging out front of the theater before, we were talking to some other randos that were there wearing their turtle garb. Now, this is all secondhand, but I was told by someone, she said, my brother was responsible for setting up this Turtle 35th anniversary screening with Fandango. I was like,
Nice.
I don't know if I believe you. That's awesome. But according to her, and this is totally on the DL, so this might be the first time this is being released publicly because we know we have a massive following on this show. There is supposed to be a yet unannounced, but it is supposed to be March of 2026, Turtles 2 Fathom event, 35th
Oh,
anniversary
okay.
screening for the sequel.
I'd be down for that too. I mean,
Which,
Secret of the Ooze, I don't like it more than the original.
no,
I'll probably just wear this shirt again.
yeah,
But I do like that movie. There's a lot there to really enjoy. I think it's a little bit more lighthearted. It embodies a little bit more of like the 80s cartoon, where
yeah,
this one takes such a darker tone. April O'Neil isn't as feisty. They recast her, I
Paige
guess,
Tarico.
apparently
So,
because the April O'Neil from the first one gave some interviews that I guess producers didn't really like or something like that.
yeah, yeah, and Casey Jones isn't even in the Secret of the Ooze, which is a bummer.
Yeah, he should be. He comes back for the third one, but he's strictly comic relief in that one. He
Yeah,
doesn't kick ass the same way.
no,
But I mean, I'd be down, CP. I had fun at this one. I know a lot of people who went, so I know the energy's there behind the Turtles.
yeah, I'm very excited.
And I got my shirt.
I love it. Great shirt.
All right. So, final thing I wanted to ask you before we move on from TMNT is simply what was your favorite scene or quote from this movie? I
Mm.
know mine if you want me to do it.
Go for it. Let me think on this.
All right. I always love when Raph is walking around New York in his trench coat, which I think is a nod to the first episode of the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Yeah.
But he like comes out of a movie and it's like Critters or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then he runs into Casey Jones and like then he chases him and rolls over that
That
taxi
taxi
cab.
cab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then what does the driver say?
Guy's like,
He's
what's
like,
that? He's like, look like a giant turtle.
yeah, it's like so New York. They just keep living their life. And then they do that wide shot of New York, and you just hear Raph like, damn. I don't know why. I always love that scene. It always made me want to go to New York.
and,
So,
and then they have that's that first that's right around the in response to the initial fight scene between Casey and Raph, and he's like, or Cricket. Yeah, but the problem is nobody knows what a wicket
yeah, he's
is.
like, crumpet?
Yeah.
What's a crumpet? You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. There's something about that scene because I think for me, it's main example of sort of the world building that's not just like a wide shot. So there's the opening news report and then really that scene. And then after that, we don't explore the city too much outside of the context of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like they go to April's apartment, but that's just a corner shot of her and then they're in the apartment. Like they don't go anywhere. So yeah, that and then I like when the guy delivers the pizza.
And he puts the he grabs the money through the vent and he
Yeah.
puts the yeah, or the grate. Yeah.
Wise man once said, don't pay full price for late pizza.
Ugh. I mean, I think honestly, one of my favorite scenes is that scene where we go to the underground. We follow Danny down to
Oh
the
yeah,
underground
he's
where
like
all the
sneaking.
and
Yeah.
and and no, the one where he runs away from his dad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he shows up and we see like what it's like to be one of the followers of Shredder because like in this weird way it's like these 90s troublemakers like they're listening to rap music and playing video games and smoking cigarettes and skateboarding but it's also not like inherently like just like degenerate vice, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
they're
like
not
no.
doing hard drugs, they're not drinking, they're skateboarding and being a bunch of like wholesome 90 degenerates, which as I said, I watched that sequence and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that looks like the coolest place you could ever go."
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. I mean, it's really hard to pick a scene. I love when they do when Splinter explains their history. Obviously, we said earlier, Shredder's entrance is goaded. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
I
epic.
love the fight scene at the antique shop.
Yeah, fantastic. I even like, you know, the back and forth when Raph's on the roof. I mean,
Yeah.
I always wanted to have those drawings from the farm.
Oh
I just
yeah.
wanted to have them. Like, I kind of want to like put them up here for the
They're
podcast, you
so
know?
good, dude. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's amazing. I love those. Um, yeah, I don't know, there's just so much to like in this movie. Like I said, I barely have really any changes that I would do. Maybe, like I said, just extending that final fight to thematically tie it all together. But otherwise, the movie is awesome. And it's also a movie, CP. I don't know if you know this, but like, or not, you wouldn't know this, but uh, it's definitely a movie of show, don't tell.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
There's only a couple scenes where we get some exposition that is a like dialogue dump. Otherwise, even the news report at the beginning, Splinter explaining the Turtles' history, like all these things, they're wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, they're providing some context, but generally, like the movie doesn't devolve into like telling us exactly what's going on.
Yeah. No, for sure, dude.
So
For
I
sure.
liked it. I thought it was great.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's, and watching it again on the big screen, I did notice one error that I caught that I've never seen in all my viewings of the film.
What's that?
After Raph wakes up in the bathtub and Leo's like, "Get him some food." Like that whole one. He wants some food.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then they like go around. There's this scene where Raph is standing on the barn and he yells, "Splinter!" It's actually Michelangelo.
Oh, they got
He's
the
silhouetted
silhouette. Yeah, they
against
got
the
the
sun,
silhouette long.
but you see the nunchucks on the belt. And I was like, that's the wrong turtle.
Oh, that's interesting. And it's funny because they used to be known, they're notorious for that with the 80s cartoon,
Yeah.
where like they'll accidentally have the wrong color bandana for the voice actor, or they'll refer to a guy and then show a different one, or like they
Yeah.
did that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just 80s animation, but yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite, but I don't know. It's either that one in New York or, I mean, honestly, Splinter entrance is just that's how you do an entrance.
You mean Shredder
Or
entrance?
yeah, sorry, Shred, not Splinter. Shredder. Like Shredder's entrance is just it's awesome. I mean, I feel scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the way that Danny like raises his hand and they're like, what do you want? You know, you're like, oh my God, don't talk back to this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Like, he's scarier than my dad. But no, sorry, my dad wasn't scary. So Shredder was definitely scary.
Dude, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh, so good.
But
So good.
before we wrap up this episode, CP, I just wanted to bring it up because I know we're both going. But while we're on this topic of legacy movies showing up in the theaters, we mentioned it earlier. This week, Jaws is returning to theaters.
Yes.
So
I'm
I am
very excited.
so pumped for this. I got really excited when we went to go see Fantastic Four and they did the 50th anniversary trailer. Steph was like freaking out because she's like, oh my God, calm down. Like, why are you so excited for this? But we ended up watching this documentary on like Hulu or Disney Plus or something where they detail the behind the scenes and total backstory of how Jaws came to life. And then we went to Universal Studios for Steph's company picnic, and they had the whole Amity section where they have the shark hanging, and they had, you know, Quinn and Brody walking around, you know, characters. And we got this cool drink at Universal called a Shark Bite, which was, I don't know, it was like seltzer water, so it was clear, and then they drip like red stuff over the top and it looks like blood dripping down.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And after that, now she's like so pumped to go.
Dude, I love that.
And we've never seen Jaws on the big screen, so I'm really excited. Obviously, I'll throw it over to you. I mean, what are you looking forward to most seeing this on the big screen?
Well, I saw Jaws on the big screen when it came out 2
Oh,
years
you did?
ago.
Oh, okay.
For
Cool.
they released it in 3D.
Nope, didn't see it.
And I was like, it's Jaws. Of course,
Was
I'm
it
going to
good
go see
in
it.
3D?
Yeah. What I thought was cool about it was like when they're on the boat,
Yeah,
right? And I think Spielberg talks about how one of his kind of like requirements for doing the film was he wanted to be able to shoot it on location, right?
yeah, on
So
the
it
water.
felt isolated when they were isolated. And most of the 3D was nothing special, but I remember shots of when you're
Yeah, like
when
the boat just in the water, sort
and
of bobbing up and down.
and you see the depth of the ocean behind it, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. This
That's
is
awesome.
like, you know, you just feel that scale that I think Spielberg truly intended. And that was
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, like, you know, the isolation and scale of the boat out on the ocean. I mean, I want to hear John Williams' iconic score, you know, with the big screen surround sound.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the opening scene, which I think when we ranked our opening scenes in prior movies, this was either an honorable mention or one of my top three.
Yeah.
Sets the tone incredible. It's creepy and scary, and love that opening scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just excited. I love getting to see these movies that I've never seen on the big screen up there. So, and then I'm going with a group, so I'm hoping that everybody will be pumped and we'll have a good time.
Dude, that will be fun. Very cool.
So maybe after we see it, we'll get around to talking about Jaws again, a little bit more in depth about what that was like on the in the theater and everything. But as I mentioned before we move on and you know, get to the outros here, I did want to ask you. Now we're a few years removed from probably the last time we did this, and I don't remember what episode it was on, but I think we have before. But what are the top three movies you would love to see in the theater but haven't seen yet?
Ooh, okay. So I was doing some soul searching because you know, one of the thing is they've done really an awesome job of releasing classics back into the theater. And I've been able to see some movies that I totally love and never would have thought I'd be able to see, like The Godfather and
Oh
Indiana
yeah.
Jones and Die Hard. So I love that. So I was like, what would I want to see that I have not been able to see? So I think number three for me would be Saving Private Ryan.
Ooh, nice one.
I was a kid when it came out, did not see it
Yeah.
in the theater, but I
Was
remember
that
hearing,
97, 98,
yeah, but I remember hearing the
99? Hold on.
stories, 98.
Yeah,
I remember
98.
hearing the stories about it, you know, people throwing up in the theater because the Normandy scene was so visceral and intense. And
Still is. It's got to
yeah,
be the best
and
scene ever.
we've only
Or
seen
worst
it,
scene.
you know, on the television screen. So I would love to get to experience that as Spielberg intended it in an audio,
God,
you know, a
I
theater.
bet that's nuts.
Yeah. Number two for me is, and this is just because this is one of my favorite movies of all time, RoboCop.
Oh, thank God you didn't say Freaky Friday.
You know how much I love, you know how much I love RoboCop, dude. And it's one of my favorite movies. It's so quotable. It's just over the top action. And if I got the chance to go see it in the theater, I would have a blast.
Dude, I remember as a kid being like, that movie deserves to be rated R. It's nuts.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I didn't see that many rated R movies, and usually it was for like a couple lines of foul language or even like maybe a sex scene or something. And
Yeah,
you're like, no. This guy gets like totally blown in half. I think his hand gets blown off. They're saying the F word like every scene. People are getting thrown off buildings. Like it's nuts.
there's boobies, there's drug
Yeah,
use, like it's insane. I would love to see that on the big screen because I love it. And number
that's a
one
good
for
one.
me, I have actually never seen this. Now I know that there have been a couple specific events where it was re-released and it just never matched up time-wise for me, and that is Lord of the Rings extended edition in the
Oh,
theater.
that's a great pick because I did see Return of the King. I went to that one, but my theater experience with the entire trilogy was the original cuts, not the extended.
Yeah, yeah, right. And I've never got to see that. Now, when you saw Return of the King, I thought you told me it was the
It
extended
is.
edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. So that's
So
the only one I've seen extended, and it
I'm
is
jealous
awesome.
of you because that would have been incredible.
I went alone because I like nobody else was available. I was like, I don't even care. Like,
Just go and sit here and watch 4.5 hours of
yeah.
epic.
Well, and like what's funny is I remember I had kind of had that same mentality when Star Wars was coming back into theaters for that 24-hour marathon,
Yeah.
where I was like texting you, texting Steph, trying to find like, oh my God, do you guys want to go to this? Are you free? And then you guys didn't respond fast enough because I had like booked the tickets and they give you like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, screw it. I'm gonna buy them. And if I have to go alone, I don't even care. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings is a great pick because obviously that's a theater movie in and of itself. It deserves to be on the big screen, and the extended editions, in my opinion, are just a perfect example of a superior edition. I
Yeah.
think almost everything they do, there maybe in Return of the King, there's a couple scenes that are a little long, but they provide good context. I'm like, I think the extended editions are superior.
Oh yeah, in every
They're the
way.
definitive way I watch it. I mean, it sounds crazy that you brought up Lord of the Rings because I literally watched Fellowship of the Ring extended edition last night before I went to bed.
Nice.
I don't know if, yeah, well, I don't think I told you, but yeah, when I called you last night for pre-production, I was like, yeah, I had Lord of the Rings on. But
Nice. Nice. Nice.
all right. Before I say my list, though, I am shocked that you did not list this movie
Shocked.
because I
Shocked.
I know you probably haven't seen it in the theaters, and that is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I have not. I was thinking about maybe making that as a honorable mention because I obviously we know how much I fanboy for that movie.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe I thought for sure that was going to show up because it's a movie that I don't think has actually ever had a theatrical release.
There was a limited one that Zack Snyder did for charity, and he did a 3 day, and each ticket was going for like $180. And one day was the extended cut of Man of Steel. The next day
Oh,
was the
that's dope.
ultimate cut of Batman v
Batman versus
Superman,
Superman.
and then the third day was the Snyder cut. And I was like, oh my
But
gosh, I
that's it.
would
I
go.
I
And that
don't
was
think it
it.
ever even a
No.
limited run. I don't even really think it had, to the masses. Like that's kind of like a special event, you
Yeah.
know. So I assumed that was going to show up on your list because say what you will about the whole Snyderverse and what DC was doing at that time, but the Zack Snyder Justice League feels like theater movie.
Oh, I mean,
Seems like
it's
a movie you should
incredible.
see
I
on
would
the
have
big screen.
loved to have seen it. Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap this up. I'm going to do an honorable mention, but it's actually not a movie, but it's one of my favorite things that I've seen recently, and I'm just going to throw it out there. Andor. So there's 2 seasons, 12 episodes each, and they would have to do a 24-hour marathon, but I would so be down for that. I freaking love that show. It is so much fun and so relevant and everything. I know we've talked about it before, but oh, I would love to see it on the big screen.
No, that would be
And
cool.
I would pay
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me, I'm sticking with you close to the Saving Private Ryan pick, and I'm going with 1917.
Ooh, I did see it in the theater and it was awesome.
I did not see it in the theater, but I did see it, and it felt like a movie that would be better in the theater. It felt like a movie that if you saw it on the big screen, there's a lot to look at here, there, things popping up out of nowhere, and then of course, like the whole one shot element of it.
Oh yeah, it's because I mean, it's very cinematic and it's very immersive. And in the theater, I remember being like, which is probably why I think I regard it much more highly than you do. And I think it's because I walked out of the theater and I was like, oh my gosh, this was incredible.
Well, what's really neat about a one shot is that you have to tell multiple elements of story throughout the frame. So like this guy's here and we're watching him walk. Well, you have to see this guy in the background, you know, putting together something at a barn, or, you know, a soldier that this guy doesn't see. And I'm like, I think that would translate really well to the big screen. So
no, it's very cool.
I don't know if it'll ever get a re-release, but that's one I would like to see. Number 2 on my list is the movie Gravity. So kind of in the same vein that we were talking about Jaws, that isolation, I feel like the big screen and the vastness of space, and also my attention overall, would just be really cool to see that on the big screen. I actually watched it with Hellison at his place, but I have not seen it on the big screen.
Ironically, I never saw that on the big screen either, which I think is weird given how often I go to the movies.
Yeah.
Like, how did somehow that slip through?
So for my number 1, I'm not going to list Jaws because we're going in less than a week. So I'm going to see it on the big screen. So I'm not going to list Jaws, but we have talked about this movie as well. And you saw it last year. I didn't get a chance to go. It's The Matrix.
Oh my gosh.
Which I've always wanted to see. I was planning to go last year, wasn't able to make it. But it's just, it seems like the action, everything they're doing just seems like it'd be better on the big screen.
It totally was. I mean, obviously that was another movie that when we were kids, right? We never saw that on the big screen. And for me, my experience was incredible. Though I went with Roxanne, and she fell asleep. And then she, like, at the end of the movie, she's like, that was so stupid. AI would never do that. And I was like, you have just destroyed everything that I love in like one sentence. What is your problem?
Yes, it would. Yeah. If it ever gains sentience, we will become bad.
I loved it. Which we can go. There is that screening in LA that is the like 4D. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh my God. I think I saw a video for that. It looked insane. The one that has like stuff around the screen and it's like,
so it like extends it out around you. Like I've seen like on Instagram, like photos of like
how much is that? You want to go?
Who came? $200. Let's go. I do not care.
Yeah,
that looks amazing. And how like it extends everything beyond, right? Like I think the shot I always see is when he's hiding from Agent Smith in the office. And like it has like cubicles and like ceiling tiles all the way above you and around you. Like you are in the middle of it.
That's sick. I would love that's at the top of my list. Obviously Jaws would be on this list, but I'm going. So
yeah.
CP, that does it for our episode this week. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Obviously, continue the conversations by messaging us or commenting on social media. You can follow the podcast at filmmakerscompass.com, and you can follow the show at FilmComp Podcast or at FilmComp Pod. You can follow me personally at Big Kid D-Man and CP.
You can follow me at NDCal5. Thank you for hanging out and talking movies with us this week again. In the meantime, get your butt to the theaters. See Ninja Turtles, see Jaws, and we will see you back here next week. Until then, keep watching movies.
Cowabunga!